Hi everybody, and thank you for watching Jobs in Showbiz. Today we're here with Miles Dale. Welcome to the show.
Howdy, and thank you.
So Miles has worked on shows such as Carrie, Mama, The Thing, The Vow, Endless Love. You're recently working on The Strain.
We are.
Do you ever take a break?
I like to take a break from time to time,
Yeah.
but sometimes life intervenes. And, you know, in show business, you don't really time it. It kind of times you. So when
Right.
projects happen, you grind, and when things
Opportunities,
are,
yeah,
you
you
take
take
your
it.
time, and that's
sure.
the way it goes.
I have to ask how your journey as a producer began, but most importantly, how did you get people to start taking chances on you?
Well, it started, I was a PA, like a lot of people in our business. You start as a runner, a gopher, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you drive people around, and you sling food, and you make photocopies, and you do the jobs that, you know, people need you to do for the office to run. I guess I was 20. And
Was that for like a year?
it was for about 2 years.
Okay.
And then I was a production manager for a couple of years, and then my first producing job, I was about 24, 25.
Wow.
And, you know, you just learn it from the ground up. And there's no real school for it. I mean, there are schools, you know, USC and NYU, but you kind of learn and just pay attention and ask questions and hopefully have an aptitude for it. And
Did you have a mentor?
yeah, I had a couple of guys that I worked with. There's a guy named Alan Landsberg, who was a big producer in the 60s and 70s, and he actually had some great advice for me, which is that a producer should do every job, should know every job, so should work in the editing room, should work in hair and makeup, should, you know, do
I
all
love
these
that.
other things. And so I took that to heart, you know, trying to understand things so that when you're doing your job and you're making decisions, you're not just guessing, you know, you actually have
For sure, you get a very good understanding of everything.
yeah, the level of importance of certain things. And then when I started directing, I guess the first time I was about 30, directed an episode of a television show called Top Cops that I was producing for CBS in Sonny Grosso. And this director, Mario Azzapardi, said to me, "Oh, you know, you should direct." And I took it as a great compliment,
Oh,
you know, because
of
I
course.
thought, oh, he thinks I have an aptitude for directing. He said, "No, you should direct so you can have director empathy and know what we're going through." And I thought, okay, so it's really more that I'm being rough on these directors. So I did, and it turns out, you know, that was a smart thing to do too. And, you know, A, you know, sort of broadened my toolkit, and B, it sort of, you know, helped me with the language of directing so I can talk to directors. So, and as for taking chances on me, it's like, you really just got to be, you know, active and pushy and curious and demonstrate some aptitude, and people will, you know, find their way to you.
Do you think it's also like a right time at the right place? Does that come into play too?
There's certainly some of that, you know. I mean, they say you have to be lucky to be good, and you have to be good to be lucky. So
I like that. I'm gonna write that one down.
You try and you know, karmically go with that a little bit. But sure, you know, just having your ears open and being ready for opportunity and being a little bit enterprising and being ready to work hard. You know, I mean, this business we work very hard, as you know,
and
for
long hours.
nights out standing in a forest, freezing.
All the time, all the time. So there are so many different types of producers, from executive to co to associate. Which area do you fall into? How's that really categorized, or how's that?
Well, it really depends on the project. You know, I mean, there are, you know, producers who help directors, there are money producers, there are producers who go with talent, there are packaging producers, there are, you know, rights producers who
Yeah, I
just
have no
don't
idea.
acquire rights. So
All of
it kind of depends, and I do different things on you know, different movies. So, you know, if I've sort of acquired a book, then, you know, it's one thing, and I'm packaging that and developing it. If I'm, you know, just sort of taking care of the organizational stuff on something, like on a bigger studio feature where there's 6 other producers who have various responsibilities. So it kind of changes. On The Strain, really, you know, Carlton Cuse is the showrunner, and Guillermo is kind of the, you know, spiritual leader, having written the books, and I'm the guy who's day-to-day doing, you know, everything, you know, keeping an eye on everything from the, you know, the creatives to how the dailies looks to managing the directors to, you know, the money to the schedule to sort of everything. So this show's kind of fun that way, in that, you know, I kind of get to do everything.
And what's that title called? Is that associate producer?
I'm an executive producer.
Executive producer. Okay, so executive producer on The Strain.
I was never going to be an executive in the real world, so instead I did it in show
This
business.
is a good balance. So let's talk about screenplays. How does the process come about? Is there a checklist you have? Do you consult with somebody?
No, I mean, screenplays, I get a lot of unsolicited material, unsolicited scripts, so you'll read them or have someone read them and do coverage, what we call coverage, where they'll give me a 5-page, summary of, here's what it's about, here's what we like about it, recommend it, not recommend it. So, my assistant or development people will do that. And if you read it and you like it and you think you can do something with it, you sort of chase it. Look, it's all about a good story and good characters and some level of originality. I mean, in Hollywood right now, there's a high degree of copycat stuff with sequels and action movies and superheroes and stuff like that. So kind of movies that I like to make, like, Hollywoodland and Talk to Me and Flash of Genius and those types of things, smaller kind of, character movies are getting tougher to make. So you just keep your eyes out for those screenplays, and if you find one, you try and get your hooks in it and try and get it made.
For sure. And not everything translates well onto screen, right? So what are some things that you would stay away from? Like when reading a book or play or...
Well, just something that feels unoriginal. If you feel like you've seen it before or read it before, or the characters feel wrong. I mean, typically it's something that you read that stays with you. If you find yourself thinking about it the next day or a couple days later or a week later, there's probably something there. So it's just to, you read it. A lot of it is instinct. You try not to make it too formulaic. You read something, and if it excites you, that's good. And if it doesn't, then
for sure,
that's bad. So I tend to not be, thinking about anything in particular, but just how a story kind of resonates with me.
You probably have to have a clear mind, so you meditate before reading.
No.
No.
No time for that. I can either read or meditate.
Right,
Yeah.
I hear you. So if there was another job you could do on set, what would it be and why? I know you've done directing a bit, but other than that and producing, what would you choose?
Oh, I don't know. Not acting, which I find kind of terrifying. I've been forced to do that a couple times, and that doesn't really thrill me. I enjoy... I think I might be interested in editing, even though it's not on set. It's another, there's the writing, and then there's the producing, making it,
Yeah.
and then there's the editing, where you have a third chance to make the movie, even if the first
sure.
two, you can either, make something good out of something bad, or you can sometimes make something great out of something good. Actually, you can't often make something good out of something bad, but you can make something bad out of something good with bad editing.
It.
Yeah, you can try. You can
Yes.
buff the turd, as I like to
Exactly.
call it. But I think probably editing. I don't really have a facility for, cinematography, and I think I'd get bored in a lot of the other jobs.
Fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Miles.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow, fantastic.
You
I got
survived.
ideas. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys, for watching.
So please join us when The Strain comes back on the air on July 12th on FX and FX Canada. Hope you enjoy the show.